Metastatic breast cancer is an orphan of the breast cancer movement, a movement that emphasizes prevention and cure. People who do go on to develop METs are consumed by the hidden work of managing their disease. The 4 women in this film will tell their own stories, sharing the moments that changed their lives, learning that they had breast cancer and then ultimately learning that the cancer had metastasized. These 2 diagnoses reshaped these women's lives into life before cancer and life after. A metastatic diagnosis means managing cancer therapies as an ongoing experience, a chronic, everyday reality. The experience of managing cancer reaches into every relationship. It defines how the women interact with the medical system and creates a new network of support. People with metastatic breast cancer struggle with language that describes their special identity. The discomfort at being called a survivor is only part of a larger struggle to cope with the disease. Cancer is taking away part of their future, and they must come to terms with living in the present in ways that challenge them, their families, and their providers. Listen to their stories, their breast cancer journeys.
It's hard to describe what the breast cancer journey means. For me personally, it was, I really didn't ever expect to be sick. I thought, I had no idea that I could be vulnerable. And then the breast cancer hit and I was kind of shocked. I kind of didn't believe it for a while. And it just started me down a path of things that I had never experienced. So dealing with the medical profession and dealing with emotions that I didn't know existed and dealing with the face of mortality that I had never thought that I would have to deal with for many, many years down the road. So I guess the journey is just the newness of it, and then the evolution of what it's become and how it's really changed my life.
So I had a small lump under my armpit, and I was at my mom's house, and she has the air conditioning on like it's the North Pole. And I went like this, and I thought, oh, I wonder what that is. And then I went like this, and she said, what is that in your armpit? And actually, I wasn't going to go to the doctor. And she kept calling me, did you go in yet? And after 2 weeks of being harassed, I went in, and that was a swollen lymph node that was full of cancer. And I actually didn't know that I had a lump in my breast until the doctor palpated my breast and said, there's a lump here, which was odd because I just did a self-breast exam like 2 weeks beforehand.
When I was first diagnosed, I was 29 years old, and I just found the lump myself. I had been to be my OBGYN 2 weeks before, and there was nothing there.
I was first diagnosed with breast cancer. I was 32. It was 2007. And I went to the doctor originally about a year prior and for a regular check. And I mentioned that I had a lump under my arm that I didn't know, if that was just a lymph node or not. And they said, oh, keep an eye on it, and if it grows, come back.
I was first diagnosed, metastatic that is. I didn't know how long I had to live, and it's, your whole, everything shrinks down.
She called me into the office after the PET scan and said, I'm very, very sorry, Michelle, but there is metastatic cancer, and it's gone into your bone and your hip and your spine, and we need to start treatment right away. And this will end your life much sooner than we were expecting. And that was devastating.
But I got diagnosed with my terminal diagnosis in the middle of my master's program. And thankfully, the faculty at San Jose State took pity upon me and said, why not do your master's thesis on breast cancer? I really wanted to finish it. And they found a way to help me finish it, even if it was to torture me by making a documentary.
I'm trying to think of what was happening in my life when I was first diagnosed. And to me, it's such a line. I call it BC, before cancer, and AC, after cancer.
2003 was really the best year of my life. So I had a great job at a great company. I had graduated law school. My long-term boyfriend and I had gotten engaged, and the future really looked bright.
Before I got diagnosed, my life was really full and I had all these ideas. I was actually getting my master's in anthropology and looking forward to a PhD, MD program in anthropology. And then my life suddenly changed.
Once you're diagnosed metastatic, I mean, it's the worst news you can get. And then it's like, well, now what? Now let's go on and live life.
There's just such a big line between before cancer and after cancer. And I think so much has changed for me in my outlook since cancer.
I think one of the big things when I've been going through chemo is it really makes it hard for me to do work. I just don't have the energy to do everything. Even doing things like my bills or, you know, the papers just get piled up and what have you. It's hard to get through all that. So that's definitely, there are some things that do not get done.
The cancer's in my bones, so I'm not allowed to lift more than 10 pounds. So that essentially made it so I couldn't work in the field as a paramedic because I can't lift the patients. And not being able to choose that I was going to stop this profession felt like it was just yet another thing the cancer had taken away from me.
Before cancer, I was 32 and I was dating, and I thought I had lots of time to have kids and meet the right person, and you know, I wasn't in a rush, and I just thought that would happen for me. And then I was diagnosed, and the very first thing I thought was, oh my God, my eggs. I'm a pediatrician, and I always thought I would have children, and to not have that and not be able to have that was one of the biggest losses that cancer took from me.